Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Hackett, and I'd like to welcome you today to today's CA Service Management Community Webcast. Today we have with us Rajeev Kumar. He's with the Service Management Product Management. And Rajeev is going to give us a release overview of the latest version of Service Management 14.1. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rajeev.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for the introduction. Can you quickly confirm that you can hear me fine?
Can.
All right. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon. Again, my name is Rajeev Kumar, and I work on the product management team for CA Service Management Solution. And in this webcast, we are going to look at our latest release, which went GA yesterday. It is 14.102. So we are going to take an overview of this release in today's webcast. Before we move on to the release overview, a quick disclaimer that this is for informational purposes only and is not really a replacement for documentation or other product artifacts that we have in place. So 14.102 is a value pack, and what we mean by that is it is a cumulative patch in traditional sense where we use to package the individual point fixes together as a bundle, plus the new features and the number of community enhancements that we package along with the cumulative patch. So now we call it a value pack. The method for applying it into an environment is pretty much same as that of like traditional cumulative patching method. Like I said, it went GA yesterday, and it is available through CA Support Online. It can be downloaded from there right now as we speak. We have other supporting artifacts in communities. We have announcements over there. The documentation is available through Wiki. You can go there and take a look at that. And we also have an FAQ page posted supporting what all is included in this release and do's and don'ts around the binaries. The best part, like I said earlier, about this release is that it does not require a full upgrade in the existing environment. So if you are running 14.1 version of CA SDM or Asset Portfolio Management or Service Catalog, you can go ahead and apply this as a cumulative patch. So in this release, the core theme that we have been following is lowering the total cost of ownership and making an administrator's life easier. Like the previous release, our focus has been on implementing community ideas. So as we go ahead and look at the other features and enhancements, you would find that a number of them are coming from community ideas, and essentially they were voted by a number of community members, and we picked it up for the release. It also contains a number of security improvements in terms of fixes for known and potential vulnerabilities, and the other defects that were provided by our sustaining engineering and support teams as individual point fixes. The major new feature that we have included in this release is environment promotion. And we'll look at the benefits of this feature in a moment, but I would like to take a step back and talk about the problem statement as we heard from a number of customers and users through the community that when administrators deploy a service management application in their environment, essentially there are 2 or more environments where service management applications are deployed, pre-production and production. In many cases, pre-production consists of development, QA, UAT. In some cases, it may have just one environment as pre-production environment, and of course, there is a production environment. Now, service management applications are typically installed, configured, in a pre-production environment. The content is established, the workflows are built, the business processes are tested, and once everything is ready to go, all this content and configuration is pushed into the production environment for consumption by the business community. Now, this has been done by administrators traditionally in either a manual fashion, or there has been very limited assistance available through the applications to achieve this quickly, easily, and in a less error-prone way. So traditionally, it has been time-consuming. Because it was time-consuming, it's been expensive, it's been error-prone, and in certain cases, it required large outage windows on the production environment. So to solve this problem, we introduced the feature called environment promotion, which is available through 14.1.02 release, and it is available for Service Desk Manager and IT Asset Manager. Now, the concept of environment promotion is that it allows administrators to package environment changes like a bundle, and we call it a package. So all the customizations, the metadata changes that reside in MDB, they can be exported in a single package, and then they can be imported onto the target environment. Historically, this has been achieved by exporting a number of individual data elements separately, aggregating them together, and tracking of all these elements has been manual historically. So the concept of package brings various elements together, and it makes the whole export experience much easier and much preferable from an administration standpoint. So that's one. You can go to Service Desk Manager interface, administration, and you will find under system set of menu items, there are a couple of new menu options that are available now. One is called data export, and another is data export import history. When you go to data export, what you see is, there are a few filter items. You can filter your changes based on, the dates and the user who might have modified the data elements, and then select the data elements that you want to package and hit the export button, which gives you a package behind the scenes. Similarly, for customizations, there is one command, go to command line utility, invoke that command, and you have your customizations packaged in one single package. Now, once the package is available, it can be imported into the target environment. And the import functionality is a command line based functionality where you take the package and import it into the target environment. Now, while the import takes place, there are a number of checks that are performed behind the scene, like the compatibility of two environments in terms of the version, the patch level, the database schema, and other dependencies that the content may have into the target environment. So it is done. But I would like to mention that dry run, which is one of the options during import, is aimed at making administrators' life much easier during the weekends, because once this package is ready for import, administrators can go ahead and quickly check it in the target environment without really importing it to establish its compatibility into the target environment. So, let's say we are ready with the package on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and the outage window has been announced for the Saturday, and I don't want to take a risk of importing it directly on Saturday and run into a potential failure. So I would quickly dry run my whole package, maybe on Thursday or Friday, to be sure that this is fully compatible into the target environment. And once everything is good, on Saturday, it's all about just going and invoking an import command. So the chances of failure can be minimized to a greater extent using the dry run option during import. Last but not the least, the traceability piece allows administrators to keep track of packages as they are being exported or imported in different environments, who is exporting or importing what package, what details lie behind a package, and things like those can be traced back at a later point of time through import-export history. So that's on the SPM side. Now, on IT asset manager side, asset portfolio management would also have environment promotion capability through this release, and the functionality would be available under administration environment promotion. The only difference being that since asset portfolio management does not have a file-based customization approach, everything is available through UI, so administrators can go into the UI and create a new export, select the data elements like configurations, searches, export definitions, and things like those, and can package them in one shot from the UI, dry run them into the target environment, and import it, and all the traceability aspects are applicable here as well. So that was the quick overview of environment promotion feature. This is the biggest feature, I would say, in 14.102. Now, a related feature is the ability to level set two MDBs in two different environments. And this problem has been related to administrator's ability to copy a database and restore it into a target environment. However, since the MDB also contains a number of configuration and integration information, once the MDB is copied from the production to a non-production or vice versa environment, then the configuration information and the integration information that goes along with MDB is typically not compatible with the target environment. So the problem there was that you have to restore the MDB, and then you look at the MDB, correct all the integration parameters like the host names and port information in MDB before it becomes usable in the target environment. So this release also offers a documented procedure to copy the MDB, but before you copy the MDB, extract all the relevant configuration and integration data from your previous MDB, like you see in this graphic. The blue MDB, which gears on top of it, was the previous MDB in the non-production environment. And once you have copied the green MDB, which is coming from the production environment, the procedure provides you with steps through which the green gears, which is essentially a representation of the configuration and integration information, can be replaced by the blue gears that were earlier available into the non-production environment. So now the MDB comes from production, sits in the non-production environment, but it has all the configuration and integration information restored from the previous MDB, and it's usable into the target environment, and it has all the data that comes from the source environment. So essentially, for all the troubleshooting purposes, data-specific issues from production environment, the whole MDB can be copied, restored in a non-production environment, and this procedure can be used to make the target MDB work without any issues in the environment. Now, there is another community idea that we picked up in SDM. This is about the analyst's ability to save the filter condition in scoreboard queries for their future use. So for instance, if I'm an analyst and I work on only printer issues, I can look at my scoreboard query, and I can set the category to printer, and I can save the whole search. And later on, when I come back to my scoreboard queries, I see a new section over here as my saved searches, and the search which I had saved earlier would be available here for me to go back to it. And as you can see in the screenshot, the previously saved condition is available over here. So essentially, it would help analysts be more productive by saving the search filter conditions of that are related to their work area, that are related to their queues, and they can access these saved searches at a later point of time. You can also produce a copy of saved searches by hitting on the Save As button and by tweaking the filter conditions a little bit here and there to produce another saved search, or they can entirely delete a previously saved search if they wish to do so. One more functionality on the unified self-service side is, again, it's coming from the community ideas and number of interviews and validation feedback that we have been getting from customers about the ability to hide communities functionality, communities feature in unified self-service. So this release offers the configuration option for administrators to go in there and specify if the community's functionality should be switched off or should be hidden. And if administrators do so, what you see in the screenshot here, the community's options and post a question and my community's link, etc., will be hidden from the UI. And administrators can go back in and reconfigure it to switch it on or show it in the UI if they wish to do that at a later point of time. Another USS feature is about allowing more SDM attributes in USS. Earlier, USS allowed a fixed number of SDM attributes on the request form. Now administrators can go in USS configuration and they can bump up the number of attributes that can be configured for the request form, and thereon the configuration of SDM data source would allow administrators to configure a number of attributes much more than allowed earlier, and to a desired number that admins would configure, and ultimately those attributes will be visible on the request form. So last but not the least, this feature, Common Patch Installer, is across the service management capabilities, SDM, Service Catalog, and IT Asset Manager, would unify the experience of patching where a patch encompasses all solution components. Essentially, if you look at this release, 14.102, which is a solution-specific cumulative patch, it has point fixes, it has additional value in it. It can be applied using a new common patch installer, which is going out with this release. And it can it can apply the patches on all the products in a very consistent fashion, irrespective of the underlying technologies. For instance, SDM has been using apply PTF in the past. In catalog, it required install anywhere, and the experience used to be different. Now, you just need to download this, run it on SDM, run it on Service Catalog, run it on Asset Portfolio Management. The experience is going to be the same. That's one. The other thing about the Common Patch Installer is that it handles MDB patching, the binary patching for application servers, and the localization patching all together. It required administrators to look at MDB patch separately and run through a number of steps to patch the MDB, run through a number of steps to patch the application servers, and then run through a number of steps to apply the localization patch. Now, it's all combined. It automatically detects that, where's the MDB, what language the server is installed in, etc., and it goes ahead and deploys the patch. Number three, if it is a pre-production environment, and if the CM server has multiple products from CA Service Management Solution, then the patch installer has the ability to detect the presence of all those components and apply the respective patches behind the scene all at once. So it doesn't require administrators to go through each capability or product and patch them separately one by one. So this will make cumulative patching and value pack installation for service management a lot easier and quicker than it has ever been in the past. Now I know I have been very quick in covering all these features, and yeah, we are done, but we would like to take questions at this point. I see there are a few questions on WebEx. And the question is from Andrea: will the new functionality provided to save ad hoc queries as stored queries still cause the analyst scoreboard to be reproduced so that they no longer have access to changes to global scoreboards? So they will still have access to the global scoreboards. If I understand this question correctly, the additional saved searches are nothing but a replica of the stored query. However, it will have the additional filter conditions underneath it, and it will be available as an additional search for the analyst who saves that particular stored query. So let me know, Andrea, if that answers your question. Brett has a question. Prior to these changes, personalized scoreboard no longer accepted updates to the role-based queries. Does the Save Searches functionality fix this issue? I'm not sure, Brett, what exactly you mean by the role-based queries. The way this functionality would work is all the queries that are available to analysts under scoreboard, analysts would have the ability to go ahead, look at the query, open the filter, apply the values that they wish to, and then they can go ahead and save the search with the filter conditions, and they can access it at a later point of time. Can properties be made available for use in USS? And that question comes from David. At this point of time, we are not, and the functionality we touched upon was making additional attributes available in USS, and it's not about properties. I know we have a community idea relating to making properties available in USS, but at this point we don't have it there. Okay, and the next one is from Angela. With the ability to export things like categories, will the location-based routing info will be included in the export? So here's the thing about export. Export is all about exporting your non-transactional data. And what we mean by non-transactional data is everything except your incidents, requests, change orders, problems, etc. that are the contact information and things like those that are typically created in the production environment. Now categories and request areas, etc. are essentially non-transactional data, and you can export them if it has references to transactional data like location or like contact. Then the utility tries to find the relevant data or the same data into the target environment. If it is available, it establishes the link. If it is not available, it will let the administrators know that there is a dependency which is missing into the target environment, and the administrators would need to fix that before the whole package can be imported in the target environment. The next one is from John. Will this update functionality still require patching SDM primary and secondary servers separately, or will it patch both at the same time? So John, if they are two different physical servers or virtual servers, they will need to be patched separately at this point of time. Okay, Brett says that didn't answer my question. I will try and clarify. Today I set the scoreboard by role. If then customize the scoreboard, it takes a copy of all the scoreboard as of that moment and then adds customizations to it. I'm not very sure about this question, Brett. Either we can take it offline, you can post a community's thread, and I'll be happy to respond on that.
Yeah, and Rajeev, okay. Just to let everybody know that you can also ask a question by hitting *6 on your phone, which will unmute yourself. So if Brett wanted to hit *6 and try and clarify, you could do it that way as well. And anybody else who wants to ask questions on the phone, again, *6 will unmute your line. Thanks, Rajeev.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, so Brett goes on from that point forward, any changes to the role scoreboard aren't visible to the personalized scoreboards. I think we are mixing two things here, the visibility and configuration of scoreboards themselves, and then this new enhancements about saved searches. Now, the functionality of saved searches would work on the scoreboard queries that are available to analysts. But we can discuss it further, Brett, in the communities.
Well, I'm just looking for clarification on the way it functions. As I stated, when you personalize a scoreboard prior to these patches, it literally makes a clone of all the scoreboards you can see, and then any global administrative changes are never visible to that person again without deleting records from the database. Does the way that your new functionality work function the same way, or does it complement the global settings and not treat it as a personalized scoreboard?
Mm-hmm. No, it does not. It does not complement the global settings. It actually creates a copy of the query and saves the additional conditions in that query.
So does that mean that if, as an admin, I then create a new global scoreboard query that I want to push out to everybody and I set it to that user's role, that they will no longer see that?
Oh, they would see that. They would see that. But when an analyst goes ahead and looks at that global query, adds new filter conditions to it and saves that, it becomes a new query and goes under saved searches, which is accessible to the analyst.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. As long as it doesn't treat it as a personalized scoreboard, which blocks the admin from adding new queries. That was my main question.
Right, and that was basically the same question that I had when I was asking it. Sorry, this is Andrea, because what Brett is saying is that in the existing functionality, when users create personalized scoreboards, it completely duplicates all of their global role-based scoreboards, and they no longer have any access to any changes that you make to those scoreboards. So if this doesn't do that, then that's I think what Brett is also asking the same question I did.
Yes.
Okay, good question, and thanks, Brett. Moving on, and next question is from Alex on the SD side. For the self-built filters and export of customizations, does something have to be enabled or configured for those to be available? Nothing needs to be configured separately, other than you have to have the environment promotion functionality in place, and it can package those data elements if you select them for export. Oh, okay, and then Andrea clarifies that Brett's question is basically the same as mine. All right, so we are done with questions. Any additional questions, you can continue submitting them on the WebEx. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Ellen Haupt, who is going to talk about Evolve. So, Ellen, over to you.
Yes, very good, Rajeev. Thank you very much. I just wanted to let everybody know who's attending CA World from the, all the customers and others that are on the line here, that these capabilities will be presented, demonstrated to the, to the extent that they can be at CA World. There's also sessions that we'll be able to, that will go into some of the details of this. We have a vision and strategy session. We've got a roadmap session. We have a design studio where we'll actually be working with customers to sort of put some ideas on the table as to what, how we can further the product in certain areas, customer case studies, and we'll be demonstrating the most recent, this current release of the product there, and we'll have a smart bar set up with some of our SWAT and development and product management folks that can really drill into questions here. So if you're at CA World, make sure you come and make use of all these offerings that we have, all the people that we're going to have there, and there's, I think, closer to 350 ITSM attendees at this point, so a lot of you surely are attending, I believe, so well, thank you for that support you're giving us. It's a program guide out at the URL at the bottom there. You can see all the sessions we're having. It starts next Monday, so a little bit late to join now, but for those of you that are coming, there is an updated program guide that you can take a look at there. So thanks, everybody. That's all I had. I'll turn it back over to Chris. You can wrap things up.
Hey, folks, so we have some time left. Let's give it a minute here and see if there are any more questions on the phone lines for Rajeev or for Alan. Again, *6 unmutes your line, and you can also, of course, ask a question in the Q&A. And we're waiting to see if there's any more questions. We do have a quick poll here to let us know how we did today. So if folks, before they drop off, would please check that out. So any questions on the phone? Again, *6 to unmute your line.
Hey, Chris, this is Alan again. Just one other thing I wanted to notify the group of. There'll be a posting on the communities today. A couple of the times of the sessions did change at CA World, and we've actually added a couple new sessions since the program guide was last published. The program guide will be updated probably today on CA.com there, that link we were just looking at, but there'll be a community announcement with a blog attached that goes through those sessions that were added and the time changes. So if you are attending CA World, I would recommend you take a look at that posting. It'll probably be out in the next hour. So that's it.
Great. Thanks, Alan. Any more questions for Rajeev? No? Okay, well, everyone have a great day. Thank you, Rajeev. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Please join us out on the communities for further discussions on anything you might have here or questions you'd like to ask. And with that, everyone have a great day.